Welcome to our panel, The Nature of Art and Its Relationship to the Written Word. I'm Barbara Slate, and I'm the moderator as well as a panelist. So our first artist is Sharon Webster, who creates engaging sculpture assemblages and paintings that reflect her love of form, texture, language, and the beauty of everyday things. Art critic Christopher Ferris of the Manchester Journal described Webster's visual work as exhilaratingly abstract and surreal, yet poignantly expressive. Images of the world as seen from within. She is a writer and mixed media visual artist. Her book of poems, Everyone Lives Here, is forthcoming from Beaumont Press. Webster has taught word and image classes at Burlington College and teaches studio art at the Community College of Vermont. She uses her poetry and her visual art as searchlights to find new, deeper, and richer ways to see the world. And Sharon,
yes.
Raise your hand. That's Sharon.
That's
okay.
Me.
Okay. Chris Wright received his bachelor's and master's degree from the Savannah College of Art and Design in Georgia. He is currently at work in a multi-part patchwork story about the art's life of an invented city. His latest book, Black Lung, was released in 2012. Chris Wright's Black Lung is unquestionably one of the most impressive graphic novel debuts in recent years. Visually startling tale of violence, amorality, fortitude, and redemption, one part Melville and one part Peckinpah. Black Lung is a story that lives up to the term graphic novel, that could only exist in sequential pictures, densely textured, highly stylized, delicately and boldly rendered drawings that is taken together, wholly original. Janice Grill, that's the other woman here. I don't mean to, we know who Chris Wright is, okay. Is a writer, artist, German scholar, and cultural conspirator. She received a BFA in painting from the Cooper Union and an MA and PhD in Dramatic Literatures and Languages from the City University of New York's Graduate Center. Her first book, The World as Metaphor, and Robert Musil's The Man Without Qualities, explores the Austrian novelist's idea that we create the world over and over again through images. Currently, she is building and illuminating a room-sized book portal, which includes as text an essay on the book as a magical object from a forthcoming book of literary essays entitled Keepsakes on matter, immateriality, and making of meaning. James Koch, can you do me a favor and tell me your last name?
James Kachalka.
Okay. Is the first cartoonist laureate of Vermont. He is an American comic book artist, writer, and rock musician. He drew the daily diary comic American Elf for 14 years. His comics are noted for their blending of the real and surreal. His work is characterized by a simple drawing style, bright colors, and frequent appearances by cats, robots, elves, and monkeys. Mostly autobiographical, James' cartoon expression of the world around him includes such real-life characters as his wife, children, cat, friends, and colleagues, but always filtered through his own observations and flights of whimsy. His work has won the Eisner Award, the Harvey Award, and multiple Ignis Awards. Okay, now this is going to sound weird, but I'm going to talk about Barbara Slade, who Barbara Slade has written over 300 comic books and graphic novels for DC, Marvel, Archie, and Disney. She created the controversial series Angel Love for DC Comics, Yuppies from Hell, and Sweet 16 for Marvel, and wrote the comic book series of the Disney classics Beauty and the Beast, Pocahontas, and Mattel's Barbie. Barbara teaches the art of the graphic novel in schools, libraries, and literary gatherings using her critically acclaimed textbook, You Can Do a Graphic Novel. Her newest publication is Getting Married and Other Mistakes. Okay, so I guess we can take that down. Could we turn up the lights now? So So since this is a panel called The Nature of Art and Its Relationship to the Written Word, will you each talk briefly about what that means to you as it relates to your work, how the art and the words connect? Who wants to start? Okay. Janice, why don't you, okay, why don't you start?
Sure. Well, I think that the words and the image, it has something to do with the subconscious and the conscious activation of ideas. So the images in the visual field they come out in a more subconscious way. So I don't exactly know what I'm doing when I start working. And as I continue to work, I make a connection with the conscious, which then, then starts connecting to the verbal. Of course, verbal language can also be filled with images, and that can also be subconscious. So this is, not an absolute black and white thing. But the visual images tend to be more subconscious, and then the words start to come in. And the piece that I'm working on now, which is out in the hall, I did write a text for it, but I wrote it after I conceived of the idea and after I started making it. And the image of the giant book is, came first. And I think that says almost more than the words that are going to be in it as I continue. So.
Nice.
Thank you. And what about you, Sharon?
Well, the way that I use words is mostly through poetry. And for me, poetry has a three-dimensional aspect. And I'm just give you an example, like, say, two words, wild, alter. And what I'm drawing image and word being balanced. And for instance, the word in poetry, alter, seems to work laterally more than, say, prose. And that would be calling an association here that might be ah, and here that might be all together. And in the back this is just my way, in the back, another dimension might be the other meaning of alter, like make new. So those words, so I find them almost like turning on two faucets, both sides, and letting the waters mingle. So whatever.
Great, thank
Okay.
you.
Well, in comics, I'm telling stories, right? And it takes both the words and the pictures to tell the story. The story is not told, you can't separate them. There's nothing there if you separate them. If it's just the art, there's no story. If it's just the words, there's no story. It's the words and pictures together that make the story. And it's just, for me, it's just a natural way of working because I have always drawn comics my entire life. So that marriage of word and picture just makes just feels right to me, and I understand how to work in that way.
Yeah, what James said. but no, I mean it's true that it's the art of comics is really in the storytelling, and it's about the it's not that words and pictures combine to make comics. It's that they're like how if you have a room, the room is made of four walls and a roof, but the room itself is not the four walls and the roof. It's the space inside the four walls and the roof. And similarly, I think comics are made up of words and pictures, but it's what you do with them, with that combination, that really makes the art an individual thing and a personal thing.
I like that.
Maybe that's a little too zen.
No, I tried to say it with the least amount of poetry possible.
No.
It's the same thing, though.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
We all agree you can't separate them, though.
That's right. For me, you can't separate them either. It's they come at the same time. I write and draw at the same time, if that's possible. So I want to talk about the idea of, as an artist and writer, the isolation and how that affects you. Do you like being alone? I mean, you know, we spend so much time by ourselves at the drawing board or in front of the easel. So how do you deal with the isolation, and do you enjoy it?
Should we keep going?
Just whoever wants to pop in. How about you, Chris? How about you? I think you like being isolated.
She's a
I
good
don't know how
teacher,
you can
you can
infer
tell.
that from knowing me for a day, but
She's a
impressed.
teacher.
Yeah.
No, it's from your work. I actually looked at your work in great detail, and I thought it was extraordinary. And I said, this is somebody who really is alone a lot.
Wow. Yeah, well, I mean, it's true. But the thing is, if I weren't alone a lot, I'd probably never get any work done. I would, you know, be out drinking with my friends every night. And, you know, that's the upside. I do work all the time. And how do I deal with it? Probably not that well. It is a kind, making the work is a kind of, therapy is just such a, that's not what it is, but it's a coping mechanism, I guess. Because at least, you know, I'm putting this out into the world, for better or worse, you know, it's what defines me. It's complicated, you know, put me on the couch, and I could give some more convincing answers, probably.
That makes
If,
sense to
if
me,
any
too.
if any of you have seen Chris's work, it's his graphic novel is Black Lung, and it is filled with imagery that is scary. I mean, I can look at it, but I can't really. I'd have a hard time because I don't want to have nightmares. But it's phenomenal, and it's very dense. So that's why I'm kind of picking on him, because I see that he must spend a lot of time in that one space, and I wonder how he does it. So,
Interesting.
okay.
I would say when you're working on a project and you have to be alone to do it, usually you have an excited feeling because you're working on it and you're getting things done, and it's exciting and interesting to you. But sometimes it's desperately lonely. You know, my kids are at school and my wife is at work. I'll call my wife like 5 times a day on the phone. She won't answer. But sometimes I'll go over and eat lunch with the kids at school, because even though I should continue just getting work done, I don't know if I like to be all alone like that all the time.
How about you?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. I kind of feel when you're really in the thick of an exciting project, it doesn't feel alone.
Right.
Okay, so that's the
Yeah.
zone we all.
But if you reach a part where it's
Hope
a little difficult, then suddenly you start feeling a lot more lonely.
Yeah, and sometimes you just have to push through that.
Well, that's the main.
You know.
That's not to interrupt. I'm sorry, but
No, that's fine.
that's where the main work comes in, because it's always exciting when you have a new idea and all the neurons are shooting, and
Exactly.
you know, it feels great. It's like, this is going to be great. This is going to be my masterpiece, and then.
But it takes a lot longer than that exciting moment to actually finish
Right.
the work.
Yeah,
There
that's
you
what
go.
I'm
Right.
saying, is that you even the next day hit that wall, especially when you're doing comics. Like, oh, this is going to be 300 pages. This, you know, it's a lot of-
Perseverance is a big one,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I think getting back to what Chris was saying initially about, you know, you're doing it, but then this is what you do, and you're hoping that you can share this. That, you know, there's so much excitement about being in there and for long, long, long hours working and working and working, communing with whatever, you know, muses or gods or goddesses or devils you're communing with. But you're hoping, and that's pleasurable in itself, but you're hoping somehow that you're going to make contact with somebody out there. And that's sort of, I feel like there's two reasons for doing the work. One, because you have to, and because this is what you do, and the other is because you're hoping that you're going to make contact with somebody out there who's going to respond.
That's
And
such a good
so
point.
like the isolation and the you're just hoping.
I think that's a brilliant, genius point because,
Thanks.
yeah. I
It's
knew
true,
I
but
could
it-
expect that out of you.
But it
Yeah,
is
we
a
try.
strange way to try and make contact with people, to spend
Yeah.
thousands of hours by yourself.
Yeah, look at gazing at your own
But
navel.
paradox, don't we love paradox? I mean, the world is based on paradox, right? You know, you have to put up with whatever editors and, you know, all this red tape, but then, you know, you have a free product, a free express, but you know, it's always
Right.
paradox. I kind of like that.
A little dog named Sparky who sits on my lap all day long, and that nourishes me. I love Sparky to be there because I
Right.
kind of feel like I'm not. Do you have a dog?
Do I? No.
No.
Oh, James.
No, I have two
You
cats.
have kids. Yes,
That's
children.
not as friendly as dogs. But that's very helpful.
My children like to jump up on me.
So, I don't know if anyone heard my talk before, but I have a very, very powerful, nasty, critical voice that keeps telling me my work's horrible and you can't do it. So I'm wondering, if you guys have a critical
If we
voice.
could come over and destroy that voice for you, sure.
And if you do have a critical voice, how do you deal with it? What I do is I let it just go. I just say, okay, just go. And it says everything it wants to say, and then in the end, it kind of gets exhausted, so then I can get to work.
I avoid it by never reading my own work.
Yeah. I'm working.
So, like, yeah, if I go back and read it, then I'm going to see, like, I'm going to be pretty upset. As long as I keep going, I can imagine that work in the past is perfect.
I know people who never read their own reviews or
Yeah.
that sort of thing just for that reason. But you're getting.
And then, like, when I have to, I have to proofread it, though. To be able to proofread without actually reading is
God, that got
that's
me
a
in trouble.
pretty good skill.
Yeah.
Well, people are encouraging you to keep doing it, so you know
Yeah.
it can't be that bad.
Well, I'm sure it's really good.
Yeah, the critical voice.
Because I haven't read it.
You're the poet laureate. You have to be good.
Yeah. The critical voice is really important because it keeps you honest. I mean, but Hemingway, I think, called it the built-in shit detector. You have to know when you're off the rails. But
Well, yeah, obviously that's true. Like you can't.
Could you speak up just a little
Oh,
bit?
sorry.
You're not gonna. You can't improve if you don't look at your work in a critical way.
Yeah, right. On some level, but yeah, I mean, it can run away with itself, and it can just turn into a baseball bat you bash yourself with. I think, and then it's not useful. Then it's actually keeping you from working. I think. So it's a tightrope.
Well, that's kind of like what writer's block is, right? When you're so sure
Yeah.
that you're not,
Yeah.
it's probably not going to be good that you don't even start.
Right. Yeah.
It's not like writer's block is not really the idea. It's not really you don't have ideas. It's
Yeah.
that every idea you come up with, you're pretty sure that's not good enough.
That's a good distinction.
Yeah. So, I mean, I like to call it, and, when I was a teacher, I would say this to my students all the time, just, you have to get out of your own way.
That's
and,
right.
Just, be, this sounds very new agey or something, but it's really true. Be a vessel, be a pipe, a vessel for the work and the ideas. And to do that, you have to stop criticizing. You have to just let it come through without stopping it all the time. So, yeah, I've got a nasty critical voice.
Janice, when I was looking at your work.
Sharon.
Janice.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
My eyes are. When I was looking at your work, it has a very dreamlike quality to it. Do you get inspired through dreams?
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, not regularly, but sometimes there's an image that I'll think about when I'm falling asleep or waking up that I'll keep with me. But I also do think that the painting process is a dreamlike state at best, So when I start, I'll go into it and I just start, moving around
You
and
get into a zone.
a sort of trance, and then again, yeah, then the conscious mind comes in and starts to sort of see what's there and what might it mean.
Yeah, it's definitely translate. But a lot of the time working, you're really not thinking.
Mm-hmm.
You're a vessel.
And it should, the interpretation of the image as it's developing is a lot like the interpretation of a dream. You say, that image is there, I don't know what it could mean, why is it there? And then you keep thinking about it and thinking about it, and then it starts to make a connection to something, and then from there it can be articulated further.
Nice. Nice.
Yes. James, you got into a lot of trouble by saying craft is the enemy.
I was going to bring that up, actually.
Can you talk about that? I mean, when I worked for Marvel Comics and DC Comics, it was all these beautiful, incredible pages that, I mean, craft was it. And you look at these pages, and your work is different than that. So I thought that was very brave of you to say that.
I found a new way to express it just a couple days ago. Someone asked me the same question. And basically, the best guitar player is not the best songwriter. That seems like the easiest way to explain it. So, like, if you've got too much chops, you can't, that seems to like stop you from actually creating. Unfortunately, the more you work, the more chops you have. So I sometimes just, do things to throw myself off balance.
Technique gets in the way.
Technique can get in the way.
It's all surface or something
Right.
like that.
I've noticed a lot of those mainstream comic book artists who are incredible draftsmen, just aren't necessarily that interested in the story. They just love drawing, and they don't care what they're drawing. Not that they're not also in love with superheroes. I mean, I'm sure that's also the case. But there's I mean, I always thought what James was saying with the craft is the enemy thing is just don't be afraid of making bad work. Because
I meant that too.
You're going to get there, if you just keep going. Because if you, it's like we were saying with the writer's block. If you just think I'm not good at that, you're not going to get anywhere.
Right. It was I wrote like a couple. They were letters that I wrote to this publication called the Comics Journal, which is a serious magazine of criticism of comics, treating it like real art and literature. Anyhow, I wrote them when I was younger. These real belligerent letters that. Kind of started a huge firestorm of. They were basically just letters saying like, just get to work.
Yeah.
So
I really truly believe that within basically it came out of people were criticizing me for my comics, for me being a sucky artist, and I was just so sure that there was something great inside of me, that they had to be wrong. And I was sure with whatever meager skills that I had at that point, that I would be able to create something that would be truly great and change the world and move people. And so I was saying you don't have to have a lot of skill. That great work is already within your grasp if your will to do it is just strong enough.
Yeah.
there you go. So Sharon, your work is very sculptural.
Yeah.
And you collect objects.
Yeah, I do that.
So I would imagine you're sitting there with a whole lot of things in front of you.
Yeah.
So how do you know when it's finished? How do you know when to stop?
You don't. Well, you work it as long as you can, and then you just see it. Well, first of all, I would like to, the person that gave me the broom that was up there in the first image is right there. So that would be like, that's Nancy. Thank you, Nancy. So, I think you hone your eye, really, your vision. You just look for a settledness in it, I think. And But then at the same time, you never say it's over.
You never say it's over.
It's never over, no, because sometimes you'll open it up even years down the road and it needs one more piece of satin or something funny on
Uh-huh.
it. Yeah. But-
Chris, so I was talking about how dense your layouts are. What is your process? Do you quickly draw the layouts, or do you see the page, or do you go from panel to panel? How do you do your layouts?
The actual layouts, for Black Lung at least, I didn't really do any thumbnails. I kind of worked the dialogue out. Thumbnails are little drawings of what the pages are going to look like. They're rough ideas. And then I basically just drew it on the page. I sort of made it up as I went along because I had the dialogue broken down, so I knew which lines of dialogue I wanted to put in which panels. And I don't know, it's organic, or at least for that book it was. Not very scientific, it was all very much on the page, and if something just didn't work or I messed up a drawing, I'd just, scrap it and start over. That's not a very interesting answer. I just drew it.
I was very interested because the layouts are so dense, and yet they don't look that way. It really is a beautiful, beautiful page. I mean, so you could just hold that page up, and I would love to put that page on my wall. It's so beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
But at the same time, there's so much involved in it.
I think I'm a big fan of the comic strips from the early part of the 20th century, from the aughts and teens and 20s and 30s, back when they had these gigantic Sunday pages, and each cartoonist would handle this huge space in a completely different, unique way. So I was very aware of the space because I'm working on fairly large pages compared to your average comic book in Black Lung, and
How large? How big are the pages?
it was I don't know the actual dimensions.
Are they bigger or smaller than the actual book?
It's
Or
about
the
the
same?
same. They're a
The
little smaller than the actual book, which is I don't know the measurements of it. I'm really bad with numbers, but I was just really aware of the space, so I wanted to take advantage of it, even if it meant fitting 20 panels on it, tiny little panels on it.
I'm going to open this up to the audience, but I just have one more question for all of us. And what is it? Oh. I'm talking about, since we all work so isolated, that for me, there's a personal motto that I have that I tell myself every day, maybe twice, 3 times, maybe 100 times. But it took me a long time, and I put this motto up on my front of my computer, and my motto is "I know best," because I spent years calling everybody. What do you think of this? Do you like this? Calling my mother, my sister, asking everybody questions, and then I realized, truly, at the end of this long hours of getting people's evaluations of my work, that my first thought usually was the right one. So my personal motto is "I know best," and I was wondering if you guys had a personal motto.
When you first said it, I thought, no, but then I have lots of different ones all the time, but then I alighted in my mind on this line from the Tao that is so useful: do your work and step back. And that goes back to the, sort of demon or critic thing. Just do your work and don't, just do your work. That's it.
And get out of the way.
And get out of the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think of Rilke's letter to a young artist, and he goes, you ask me, is this a good poem? You send it out here, and you ask them, is this a good poem? If you're going to keep that up, you might as well forget the work.
Sounds like a
You might
poem,
as well
right?
find another job, basically, because no one knows besides you.
So what would your personal motto be?
Boil that down. I have so many. I can't think of one in particular. But getting out of the way is
Getting
not
out
a
of the
bad
way.
one. Yeah.
How about you?
Oh, I don't have a motto.
I guess we better get one.
I don't have a motto. I try to. There's that story about Robert Frost where some.
Oh, I have a motto.
Go ahead. You want to go ahead?
I don't really have a motto, but I have a philosophy.
Same thing.
Yeah. My philosophy is not to separate art from your real life. The art and life are one thing.
Nice.
Oh, that's
Very nice.
Okay, now you can go, Chris.
Yeah, well, this kid came up to Robert Frost. He was a student at Dartmouth, I guess, and Robert Frost asked him what he did, and he said that he was a poet. And Frost said that's not a term that one should self-apply, which is probably just Robert Frost being grumpy that day, but also, it's just sort of stay humble and be aware of the greatness around you, and I'm interested always in the link between art and mythology, and I think there's a certain level of giving yourself over to the unknown, not to sound cheesy, but and a kind of a certain kind of, again, not getting in your own way, and saying annihilation of the ego sounds a little over the top, but just to be open. I'm trying to figure out a more clever way of putting it, but that's what it amounts to.
That's not bad.
I understand what you're
We
saying.
get it.
Yeah.
So, does
That's
anybody
lovely.
want to say anything before we open this up to questions?
Let's get some questions.
Yeah, let's get them involved.
Okay. Questions?
It's an observation. There's a gender divide with the panel. This is the first time you've looked at the audience. And
That's not
you haven't-
true.
It
It's the
is.
first time I looked in your eyes, but I've looked up at the audience several times.
I've been watching you all really closely, and I've never seen a panel make less eye contact, and I was thinking about
We're
the
introverts.
interiority of the process. And I just found it fascinating that the two men were looking down and anywhere but making eye contact.
And we did okay, though?
About normal.
We are introverts. I mean, we try, but.
I just, and I was thinking about
We
the
like people.
loneliness, and it just, but the comments you were making were very intimate, but so.
Oh, it's easier
let's
to make
connect.
an intimate comment
When
if
you're
you're
looking down.
Exactly.
if you can pretend there's nobody out there.
You must know shy people, right? There are a lot of shy people.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean we don't like them.
Now, I also I play in a rock band too, and I sing in the rock band and write the songs. Now, there'll be obviously a lot of people in front of you then, but there's like really bright lights shining in your eyes, so you really can't see the crowd at all. It's almost as if they're not there.
Any
We're
other
glad you're here.
observations?
Oh, yeah.
It really was an observation, it's not a criticism.
Sounds like
it's
a
just
criticism.
I can't
Well, see,
speak for
here's the
Jim.
thing, we were sort of sizing up the situation because this is a, 5-way kind of discussion, and we just didn't know if we could involve every single person in the, but now we can, yeah.
There's a lot of thinking to do too.
Yeah.
You have to
know
think
you're-
about what you say. You also have to think about what they said, and wow, there's a lot
And
of
I'm
thinking you gotta
I'm just
do.
admitting these other people this day.
Yes.
But we know you're here.
I wondered about if you could comment at all about how you feel narrative moves differently with words or with images in your work.
What do you mean by narrative?
Well, how the story lays out, and what you think you can do
Okay.
with one or the other.
Well, in comics, they're really married together. The story doesn't move forward without both. But I read a lot of prose, and I can see that the narrative goes forward quite differently in a prose novel. I think it's a lot more internal. You get a lot more minutia of people's thoughts in a prose novel, for sure.
But you should also, in a comic, you should also be able to
look at the panels in a comic and be able to pretty much get the entire story without reading a single word. To me, that's a successful story, that when my comic just tells it without reading. And that's why comics are so good. For kids, younger kids, who don't know how to read, they start looking at the panels and can actually read the story. So it's a wonderful way to, my kid learned how to read by reading comics.
Another thing in prose, you have to describe everything with words. In comics, you don't really have to do much description with the words because you can draw the picture. That's a clear difference between the two. But you might still have, and you could probably even describe people's emotional state just through the pictures. You wouldn't have to say that they're angry. You could show that they're angry, or you could show the whole scene from like the way the character is feeling. Like you could take their emotional state and put it out into the environment around them as well. That would be another way to express that sort of feeling. That's different than something you would do in words.
I'm just wondering, you all just have such a wide array of styles and storytelling and visual things. I'm just wondering how kind of the digital age has affected the way you work, if it has at all, and whether that's something that you consider just thinking about sharing with a larger audience, particularly a younger audience.
Well, for me, it's just changed my life because I used to color, and it took me all day long, and then at the end of the day, if I messed up, I'd have to start all over again. Now, if I don't like the color, I press a button, goodbye. And so coloring has been huge in changing my life. So I use the computer a lot. I also draw on the computer, with the pad, whatever that's called. And so it's totally changed my life. And I love it, actually.
And images are just so ready, which helps any artist. I mean, from art history, just the range of images to stimulate or to use, to use as an impedance.
Well, I was drawing my diary strip as a daily diary comic strip and posting that online each day at American Elf. So the events would happen to me. I would draw about them, and then I would post them in the same day, and thousands of people all over the world would be reading it and commenting on it. So that's a much different way of working than just sitting in your studio and working for years until the work is finished and then giving it to the audience when it is done.
That speaks to the isolation thing.
They're like reading it. They were they were reading it in real time as I created it, basically.
So isolation can be a lot less because of the digital age, I think.
Right.
I mean, I
Is
have
that what you're-
I'm emphatically sort of resisting the digital age. Obviously, I'm handwriting an essay on a giant book, but my work's pretty much always been that way because the palpable feeling, the inscribing, the magical, what I think is a magical experience of working with the material is really important to the work that I do. I mean, I'm not saying I don't, use the internet and looking at images is really exciting, but for what I'm doing, it has to be real material. And the book and the book essay that I'm writing is about books as objects as opposed to digital books, and it's a polemic against digital books. So full disclosure.
I'm sort of the same way. I mean, I love the sound of pen nib scraping on paper. I mean, there's a real physiological experience almost for me, particularly when inking. And I mean, I want the thing in my hands because the idea that I just have a bunch of files in a cloud somewhere terrifies me. It's like, oh, that's gone.
It could be
So
that we are preserving some of this hand, the importance of touching. Sorry.
It's funny that I
Yeah.
said the opposite in my talk earlier, which was that I draw the things on paper, and then I scan them in to the computer, and then I put them up on Dropbox, and then I feel safe that if the house burns down, the work is still.
Yeah, no, it's a boon also. I think I have more of a personal response to actually having the thing, you know. But yeah, I mean, I'm not a Luddite or anything. I use Photoshop.
Keeping the sensuality in art, I think, is really important, and sometimes the internet slicks that right down.
Sure, yeah.
This session was billed as a graphic novel, and I have yet to hear anybody use the phrase. But I want to ask, what's the difference really between comics?
No, this isn't the graphic novel one. You went to the wrong
nature
one.
of art and its relationship to the written word. And when you said that, I went,
Wrong place too.
It's called.
Oh,
It is called that,
called
the
the
novel graphic.
It is called the novel graphic?
We like
Ah.
them.
Well, see, the words are in the wrong order.
I know, that's what threw us all.
The difference between a comic book and a
Well,
graphic.
No, I thought we were going to talk about the graphic novel first until I met these ladies, and then I realized we weren't.
But I want to
Yeah,
ask that
same.
question.
There's no difference between a comic book and a graphic novel, except that the graphic novel is longer and it's perfect bound, and it's.
I've seen them. I know what they look
And
like.
it's
Right.
But the coin was termed by Will Eisner, and he created the term because he, comics were for kids, but he wanted to create comics that were serious, like a novel. So he's like, if we give the work a serious name, people will take it seriously.
Which
That's
it
why
turned
he
out, I
coined
think,
it.
fools
Address the
people for a little
narrative,
while.
or I think
Right.
Barbara mentioned that one of the features is you can read it without the words necessarily. Read in the a larger term, just perceive. I think
Shakespeare, right?
but he didn't have. Yeah. I was gonna say he didn't write one, did he?
Shakespeare did comic books. Yes.
Does anyone have an ideal audience?
An ideal audience?
Yeah.
Yes, a huge audience.
Very loving.
We've been asking you questions. The audience ought to do something back. And what?
I think you've been pretty good.
What would you like from the audience for your work, or do you have an imagined audience?
I would like people to, especially young people, but anybody, to be inspired to do their work by looking at my work, and to say that, she did this, she cared enough to do this, it's fanatic and crazy or whatever. I'm going to do what I want to do too. And I mean, I love it when young people respond to my work.
That's great, Denise. Yes, we just want you all to be wild and crazy.
My diary strip was very, very, very personal, so the readers tended to feel very personal about it, or to see connections to their own life. And I have received many, many letters from people who have said that my strip saved them. And
Doesn't get much better than that.
and when I quit drawing the strip in no, but I got letters from people all over the world who said they just cried and cried and cried when I quit the strip. And one guy did say he had only just discovered the strip like 2 weeks before I quit, and he was ready to kill himself. And the strip was the thing that gave his life meaning, and he's like, I hope I can continue on now that you've written the strip. And I was like, you're going to be I cannot worry about this guy. I've got my own things that I have to take care of.
When I did Angel Love for DC Comics, it was drugs, sex, and rock and roll, and I got so much mail from girls who were in trouble and had from some abuse. I remember one. My brother beats me, and it was so I did have to follow through on some, but I felt like I was really reaching a lot of girls who would say, Angel, you're my only friend, I am you, that kind of thing. They really identified with that character.
That's a horribly heavy, you're talking about
Yeah.
horribly heavy responsibility.
Yeah. But in a way, that's what you live for, to make that kind of contact. That's that paradox again. You might be by yourself for a little bit, but ultimately the connections can be more powerful.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And say that we're not alone.
I had no idea I was going to make connections that strong with people. I didn't set out to make connections that strong with people. I was just trying to learn something about myself. I didn't know what the effect it was going to have on the rest of the world.
But now that those young women know they're not the only one experiencing that.
I don't have an audience like that, but it does beg the question, what then is the artist's responsibility to the audience? Just because this thing you made clicked with somebody. I mean, there are some people who just, this is a thing I like, and then there are people like James was describing who maybe are a little unhinged, and what is, I mean, that's just sort of another topic, I guess. It's a weird.
But you're exploring some psychological places that might be a little dark, and that could connect with some people who do feel isolated, and then they don't feel
I would like
quite as much.
Yeah,
I would like my work to have a positive effect on the world. I guess that's true. I'd like to leave the world a better place. However, I am completely aware that it is just as easy to cause evil with the work accidentally.
Yeah. Taxi driver.
And it's not.
Never.
Oh, I think it certainly is possible.
Eating emails. No.
So I feel like I'm going to have to say that I am not responsible for any evil that my work causes, but I'm also not responsible for the good that it causes. I can't, if I say I'm responsible for the good, then I have to say I'm responsible for any potential evil that it causes, and I don't want to take responsibility for that, so I will not take responsibility for the good it causes either.
You're innocent.
I am innocent. Oh, that's the whole point of my work. I'm trying to show the world that I am
Utterly
innocent.
As the day you were born.
I think
As the
we're
driven
gonna
snow.
do that because, I think there's another person who's going to be talking in about 5 minutes. So, thank you so much.